Barcelona, Group 2. Furthest away from me, Fernando Alonso. Then we have George Russell and Yuki Tsunoda. Very warm welcome to all of you. Fernando, let's start with you. You had a tremendous reception at the fan forum last night. You have a couple of wins, 7 podiums here. Just what makes this one different for you?
Well, home Grand Prix, so it's different to all drivers when you race in front of your home crowd and friends, family are normally in the grandstands or in the paddock, and you want to deliver something always extra at your home place. And we know Barcelona very well. It's not only my case. I think all Formula One drivers, we did a lot of laps here, a lot of testing. So it's a circuit that we know very well, and we push the limits, from FP1 to the race.
So what do you think will happen this weekend from an Aston Martin point of view? Let's focus on the positives from the last 2 races since you introduced the upgrade. How much of a performance step forward is it?
Let's see. I think Barcelona will tell us a little bit more about the new package. Imola was a step forward for sure, but also I think we ran the medium tires, and that helped us in qualifying. And then in Monaco is such a special place, and Saturday is obviously key part of the weekend, and we put some good laps on Saturday as well. So Barcelona with a more normal weekend we will discover where are we in terms of performance. But I think everyone will bring also some upgrades here, especially on the new regulation with the front wing, and let's see how much affects everyone on the grid.
Fernando, you referenced Monaco there. I did want to ask you what it was like to work trackside with Adrian Newey. Did it live up to expectations?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think the way he see things on the car, even statically on the pit lane or at the grid, also in the garage, spotting some things that we could have done better or do better in the future. But also, yes, his presence in the meeting room is always special, and I think not intimidating, but I think the level of the team was higher thanks to his presence. Because everyone was more focused, more into the details of the car. Every word, every people that was talking in the meeting, they know that they cannot say anything too far from truth, because he will spot it. So I think that was great to witness, and I hope next year, with more races that he will come, we will keep learning from him and getting better as a team.
Fernando, thank you for that. I'm sure there'll be more questions for you in a minute. George, let's come to you now. It's been a tough couple of races for Mercedes. What have you learned in the debrief since Monaco?
I mean, ultimately, our weekend was over from Saturday. We know Monaco is a qualifying race, and I think there were hopes or expectations that with the 2-stop, things would be spiced up a little bit, and I think we're all grateful for the trial of the 2-stop, but clearly it didn't change things as people predicted. And it was a real shame because we'd lost our way slightly during the weekend in Monaco, but we went back to a known setup in Q1, and we were right back in the groove, right back inside of the top 4, which is where we've been always on Saturday afternoons this year. So that was a real shame.
How important is it for you and the team to have a clean weekend here in Spain?
Yeah, it's obviously been 2 poor races. We've been inside of the top 5 every single session up until Imola. So we're hoping to get back into our usual form and have a clean weekend. As Fernando said, with the changes to the front wings, there's a bit of relearning all of the teams will have to take, but I don't expect it to shake the order up too much.
You guys were quick here last year, 3rd and 4th in the final result. Do you think you might be able to replicate that if you're clean, have a clean weekend?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. As I said, up until Imola, we'd been inside of that top 5 every single quali and race, and of course, Imola was a bad race, and then Monaco, things slightly outside of our control. So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be back in that fight for the top 5, hopefully fighting for the podium. But we do know our race pace, especially in hot races, is a step behind McLaren. And this weekend is going to be very hot. The track's going to be over 50 degrees for the majority of the weekend. The only difference being here is we're on the hardest compound of tyres, whereas in Imola and in Jeddah, where we struggled the most this season, it was on the softest compound of tyres. So that's one small change.
Okay, thank you for that. Yuki, let's come to you now. It was a frustrating race for you in Monaco. So let's look at the bigger picture. It's now been 6 races since you joined Red Bull Racing. First, how comfortable are you in the car now?
Yeah, I'm still remains. Building the, I would say, progress in terms of confidence, everything. I mean, understanding about the car is still it's getting there. It just last few tenths, few milliseconds, at especially when you want to track the track condition. How to say, also track evolution, something like that. I mean, you want to naturally feel it, right? And those things is when you sometimes change setup, you want to know what kind of balance you're gonna get, And obviously, with new car, it's just hard to know exactly how the car's gonna behave, and those things. It comes to real experience, and obviously last 4 years with V Cup, I know exactly what's gonna happen, so I don't really have to even think about those things, and I'm able to naturally react and drive fast. So I think those things will come. I think the Imola thing just made me recognize amount of probably understanding currently I have, and actually I was probably had slightly. I would say underestimated how much importance to know those things, those areas especially. So it's not that I'm lost confidence or whatever, but just slowly building up, and we'll be there at some point.
How much confidence does the team have coming into Barcelona? Max Verstappen is going for his 4th consecutive win here. Are you expecting to be much more competitive than you were, at the slower tracks this year?
I mean, to be honest, Monaco was pretty good until qualifying. To be honest, red flag and those lots of kind of things didn't went to the plan as we planned. Obviously, it's always hard to be on the plan, and there's definitely a lap that I could done slightly better as well. So, in that sense, qualifying was a very, very, very tough tough for me especially. But at least until FP2, FP3, I was fighting quite close, and to be honest, pace was probably best ever. So it's getting there. And Barcelona, I mean, to be honest, I didn't see much history about the Red Bull, but you said 4 times he's winning. That's good news, but I just keep focusing to myself rather than Max.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Let's now open this to the broadcasters first of all. Who's first, please? Yep.
Tom Slade, Ferdazón Spain. Question for Fernando. Fernando, you've mentioned many times that your hopes are focused on 2026. Of course, Adrian Newey was in Monaco, but his focus is on 2026. Although the team has brought new parts this weekend, they brought new parts in Imola. I understand that there's new parts coming in Silverstone. What is the focus on the team between 2025 and 2026? Is it not fully focused on next year still?
I think the focus is on 2026, but in order to be confident and strong in 26, you have to build the momentum also in 25, and you have to deliver some parts on track that they are making the car faster as well in 25, and that will, I think give some confidence to the team as well back in Silverstone, and also in our tools to make sure that everything that we are developing in 26 it makes sense, because we go on track and it delivers the expectations. So I think there is a little bit of work still on 25, and but the main focus or the hopes are in 26. We understand the situation, we understand where are we in 2025, and whatever we bring to the track will just be a minimum change in terms of positions and finishing order. And I think the biggest step in that regard, it can only happen in 26, where all the hopes are.
Thank you for that. David? Yep.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Fernando, on that topic, one thing Adrian did say when he was speaking in Monaco was that there was a correlation issue between your new sim back at the technology campus and what you're now seeing on the track, and it might take 2 years to fix. So how much of a hindrance is that going to be, especially to yourself as a driver, and what are the team doing to put things right and to give you a better correlation between now and the 2 years that it might take to fix it fully?
Well, I think all the simulators will have some kind of correlation issues to the real car. You know, and I don't think that any team has a perfect simulator that you can trust 100%. You know, because the car on the real track and the real life is very dynamic and it keeps changing always corner to corner and session to session. There are not 2 laps on the weekend that they are exactly the same, you know, because the wind, because the temperature, because the traffic in front, all these kind of things. So when you try to replicate that on a simulator, on a consistent and perfect environment, I think is very different. But I think it will take less than 2 years to fix our simulator. It's not new. Maybe it's the first time that, you know, and Adrian said in Monaco that on the interview, but you know, rest assured that drivers will mention it a couple of times already.
Hello, Laurent Dupin from Canal+. Question to Fernando, because George and Yuki may not remember. In 2001, you were driving the Monaco Grand Prix, and
Don't remember.
Paulman David Coulthard had to start from the back. He spent 40 laps behind Bernardi in the Arrows, who was 4 seconds slower in qualifying. Now with all the pack in 1 second, does that mean that people expect too much from the Monaco Grand Prix on the Sunday?
Oh, of course. I mean, Monaco has been Monaco always, but now I think there is a lot of expectations, and there is a lot of media that you are not the one to blame, but there is a lot of news generated, you know, every single day, and there are a lot of things on internet, social media. You know, there are a lot of things generated for Formula One. So we want to see the show. We want to see the overtakings. We want to improve the sport from our couch at home. You know, everyone has ideas, all these kind of things. And I'm always a little bit surprised about the negative comments from Monaco on Monday. But don't worry, because next year we will go to Monaco, and on Wednesday we will be so excited, and then on Friday we will all say that it's the best weekend and track, you know, of the season, and we all want to win in Monaco. And then on Saturday we are all, you know, super excited, and the adrenaline that you get on those laps are probably unique in the championship. And then for whatever reason on Sunday we will be all disappointed, you know, once again. But I think it's what it is. You play all your cards on Saturday. Sometimes, you know, it's good, sometimes not. But there are some other circuits that is also like that, and you know, is the nature of Formula One. Even with how competitive is the field now, you know, we a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I think Max and Red Bull won nearly all the races, and it happened also with the McLaren. Back in the 90s, and you know, this is Formula One, and it had happened, and it will happen also in the future. But still number one sport, and we still embrace how it is.
Thank you. Next, yeah.
Alessa Naujoks for RTL Germany. Question to George Russell. Hi, George. You were talking about spicing up the Monaco Grand Prix. You did that with your move. Is that also part of the new George Russell, the team leader, the one who takes more risks?
I was just getting tired of staring at the back of a Williams rear wing for 50 laps, to be honest. And I mean, it was a bit ironic because I finished higher up the order by doing that move than I would have done if I just stuck behind Alex. You know, I pulled a whole pit stop in the space of 3 laps, and then I was free to do my own race. But, you know, for us, the weekend was gone so early. We weren't fighting for anything. You get the same points for P11 as you do for P20. And as I said, I just wanted to enjoy Monaco. I didn't get the chance on Saturday. Like Fernando said, it's the most adrenaline you get in a whole season, and I didn't have that chance because of what happened. And I at least enjoyed the last 25 laps of the race, so it's not, it's not part of the new George Russell being a rebel cutting the track. It was just getting tired of seeing Alex driving like a grandma.
Was it an expensive restaurant on Sunday night?
Not expensive enough, so Bill is definitely not even just yet.